What up guys? What up cycling fanatics? It's June and it's time for a new Q&A. You guys been sending me in a lot of questions and I figured why not just answer those while I'm out on a bike ride. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm out for a nice easy spin and I'm gonna answer some questions. Like riding a bike with a camera is not hard enough. I'm also using my phone to look up your questions. So I'm at the Q&A video of last month. Ariangato Country Balls. Do you have a Facebook page? Yes, I do guys. I recently created a Facebook page. It's an athlete page. So I'm trying to get everything on there and keep it up to date. Just like me on Facebook and you'll know what I'm doing. I'm also posting information on it, like which races I'm doing. So check it out. The link is down below in the description. Josh Whittaker, are you thinking of coming to Australia at any time? Oh yes, of course. I lived in Sydney or close to Sydney for about 9 months. I've been in Australia for a whole year in 2013, 2014 and I really liked it. Really good place to ride your bike. I didn't have a road bike back then, but I really would like to come back and ride some more in the country, but it's a very long way to get there and I'll need a couple weeks holiday for that. John Tish wants to hear some comments on the Mavic wheels and what kind of wheels I would buy as an upgrade if it's not too expensive. Well, I ordered some fast forward wheels, but I didn't get them in yet. They're not cheap, but I think they're pretty good. Comments on the Mavic wheels, I don't like them. I don't like the braking performance. They're pretty narrow, so they don't fit 25C tires very well, so just find another set of wheels. Gaaf dingetje. Yeah. Nice guy. He was flying around with some model planes. Anyway, let's continue with the Q&A. Next question comes from Megan L. She wants to know, what's your next bike? Do you have a dream bike? I don't know. I don't have a dream bike. I think a lot of bikes look very good as long as you have the right components. My next bike would probably be a climbing bike, so something like the Canyon Ultimate. Peter Willard, he wants to know more about intermittent fasting. Well, Peter, I can actually make a whole video about intermittent fasting and I probably will later this year. But a few basics, I do intermittent fasting pretty much every day. I start eating around 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 or 12 at night. Why so late? Because often I train late in the day. I do most of my rides without eating, so I train and then I start eating on that specific day. Does it benefit your training? I think so. It's really hard to measure. It's really hard to say yes or no, but I do a lot of long, slow endurance rides in a fasted state. On those rides you train your fat burn, and when you're in a fasted state you burn more fat, so it makes sense to do it. Next question. Martin R. Which turbo trainer are you using? At the moment I'm using the Tux Neo XFP5. How would you train for a 50-kilometer team race when we are with 12 teammates? Wow, that's interesting. What kind of race is this? I want to join. 50-kilometer race with 12 teammates. Well, if you all of 12 of you are pretty fit, that's going to be about 1 hour of riding. It's going to be a time trial, single file, and you're going to be racing hard, and it's going to be about 50 kilometers an hour. You need to train with your team and you need to train on very high intensity. What you're going to do during this race is one guy is in front, the rest is drafting behind. Every 30 seconds or every minute you're going to swap, so the first guy moves back and gets in the end of the line like you normally do in a team time trial. So the effort you need to do as an individual rider is 1 minute hard pace, 11 minutes relatively slow. You need to train far above your anaerobic threshold with resting intervals. Good luck, mate. Here's a cool question. Bullwhip Johnson wants to know how to pronounce my last name. It's Verkuijl. V-E-R-K-U-I-J-L. Verkuijl. Alex Breakless. Who's your favorite pro rider? I don't know. I think Sagan, not because he's a world champion, but because he's really funny and he has really good skills. Andrew Ducker wants to know if I eat in the morning before I go on a ride. Like I said before about intermittent fasting, I don't. I usually ride in a fasted state. Be fit and cycle. Do you have a glider license? No. Joseph Fitzgerald Patrick. He's 16 years old and wants to know if he can do something to increase his strength because he thinks he's too young to go to the gym. I started my strength training at 15. I think if you do it correctly with a trainer, you'll be fine. If you don't want to go to the gym, you can do strength training on your bike by pushing really hard with a low cadence. Just strolling around in the Dutch farmland. Even farmers in Holland wear cowboy hats, but they're not cowboys. Okay, Dion de Krij. He asked me a question in Dutch, but he wants to know how he can ride with a lower heart rate, because even when he's riding slow, his heart rate is pretty high. Well, Dion, I don't know what your age is. You say your average heart rate is 155. If you're very young, then that's pretty low. As you get older, your heart rate will go down. So I think it's normal what you're doing. But if you want to get your heart rate down, I think you should do some interval training and then get your body to be stronger so that you can ride slower. Does that make sense? John S wants to know what kind of components I would buy if I would only do a few races in a year. I would go for Shimano 105. I think that's the best value for money you can get. Saber, he wants to know if he needs to upgrade his group set or his frame set. So either frame or components, and he says his frame is too big for his height at the moment. Saber, get a new frame, because the size of your frame is very important. Wacky Wars wants to know if I've ever flown with King Willem-Alexander. No, I didn't. At the moment he flies on a Fokker, which is a smaller plane, and I'm flying on the Boeing 747, so we'll never see each other. Maybe when I transfer to another plane and he does, we'll fly together. I don't know. Would be really cool. Kuan Hao wants to know, how do you know if you're overtrained? That's a very difficult question. I actually been overtrained a little bit for the last couple months. It's a pain in the ass. You'll know because you wake up with heavy legs. You'll know because training is not going like you would expect it would go. Sometimes you have a hard time sleeping. Sometimes you'll lose weight. Your heart rate in the morning can be higher. There's a lot of different factors. Listen to your body. If you feel tired, skip a training. Don't try to make up for lost training time, because you can't. You can skip a training and recover well for your next session. That's the best option. He also wants to know, how do I schedule my training when my life is very irregular with my work? It's very hard. I make a training plan every week, so I know what's coming and I know how I feel. I try to rest as much as I can. I do a lot of training on location, so when I'm out somewhere abroad in a hotel, I work out in the middle of the night, I work out late in the evening, very early in the morning. I do a lot of training sessions when they would not be the right time to do, but they're the only time I can do them, so it's not ideal. That's the hardest part for me, to combine my job and my racing. Jay Bone, if you would have the chance now, would you quit your normal job and become pro? I've had two goals in my life: compete in bicycle racing and to become a pilot. I've competed in BMX and now I'm competing in road bikes, and I'm a pilot at the same time, so I would really try to keep that mixed, but maybe I will. I don't know.